News 4 Today.
Now, a WYFF News 4 special.
Please don't snow. Please don't snow.
I'm waiting for a snow.
Inches of snow.
That was my car just got hit.
Or slivers of sleet. The WYFF News 4 weather team prepares you for the winter months to come. Your winter weather forecast starts now.
Thanks for joining us as we get you ready for all that this winter will bring. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice here with the WYFF 4 weather team.
You know, winter in our region can mean a lot of different things. Everything from cold rain to inches of snow.
And how do we let you know what's coming, and how can you prepare your home and your family?
In the next half hour, we'll cover all of that, plus some interesting things you may not know about winter weather in the Western Carolinas.
Now, between the 4's, we have decades of experience covering winter storms. It's that expertise that we will use to bring you the most updated forecast. Now, before we can look at the winter outlook, we need to look at what a typical winter will bring. Now, on average, the upstate will see about 4.7 inches of snow per year, with the snowiest month being January, followed by February and March. Now, the earliest snowfall on record is October 20th back in 1913, and we have seen snow as late as May 7th back in 1992. Now, the last 4 years have all recorded snow in the upstate. 2015 and 2016, we had 2.6 inches of snow, with the winter after that reporting 3.6 inches. Now, the winter of 2017 and 2018 brought right where we should be this time of the year, 4.7 inches of snow, with last year bringing in just over 4 inches of snow. Now, here's an interesting fact for you. There has always been snow on any given year in the wintertime, except for the winter of 2011-2012. That is the only winter that we have not had snow. Now, coming up, I'll have a winter outlook for our area, and after looking at these numbers, it seems the question it's not if we're going to see snow, but how much. Now, to talk about what we're going to see, we have to talk about what this area has been through. We want to take a look back at the 4 major storms that have impacted our area.
It was probably the most intense winter storm that has ever occurred in this particular area.
Take a look here. These are some of the top storms we could find for our area. This is video from western North Carolina and the upstate in 1993, dubbed the storm of the century. High winds and heavy, wet snow slammed our area. Mount Mitchell had 50 inches of snow. Some of that stayed on the ground for nearly a month. That storm killed 1 person in South Carolina and 19 people in North Carolina and 15 people in Georgia. Wow. In 2005, a system that all ice storms are measured by in our area, a blanket of ice coated the western Carolinas. You can see the damage it caused. In some places, more than ½ an inch of ice coated everything, damaging trees and causing lengthy, widespread power outages. At least 7 people lost their lives as a result of that storm. And back to western North Carolina, where more than 60 inches of snow fell on Mount Pisgah in 1992. Yes, you heard that right, 60 inches. Now, snow in this area is not rare itself, unless you're talking about 5 feet in 2 days in May. Yeah, wild. That storm drew tourists, meteorologists, and locals out to enjoy that snow. Now, looking back as close as last year, that winter, the storm of 2018 there brought a lot of people to our area to a standstill. A lot of snow there. This was especially rare because it came before Christmas, which doesn't happen often. Snow totals across the region range from a dusting in the southern part of the upstate to almost 22 inches in Henderson and Polk counties. Some areas had more snow than the blizzard of '93. This storm also came with ice and wind, causing power outages widespread across the area. Now, these are all events that would have warranted an impact or an alert day. This is the system we use when we want to make you aware of weather coming our way. Now, when you see these yellow icons, it means that it's an impact day. It means that weather is out of the ordinary for that day. Think of the yellow icon as a highlighter on our weather system, letting you know the hours and the days that we expect especially impactful weather. The yellow icon will appear when those impacts are expected. Extreme weather is not expected or forecast during these impact days. Now, an example of an impact day would be especially cold or hot days. a washout with rain, foggy conditions, windy days, or even snow showers that don't accumulate. Now that brings us to alert days. Anytime you see the red icon, it means that strong or severe weather is likely to impact your family. The red icon appears when dangerous weather is expected. We use this red icon to alert you to the times and days of the week with that dangerous weather. At these times, you need a way to receive warnings, whether it's on air, on our WYFF4 mobile app, or weather radio. Weather conditions that would prompt an alert day are snow and ice that would impact travel, flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes or tropical storms, and stormy weather with damaging winds and hail. Kids of all ages, some adults want to see some snow, but why does it happen more often around here? Dale Gribble's here with that answer.
All right, well, thank you very much, Chris. Where we live in the upstate of South Carolina, northeastern Georgia, the ingredients needed to create a good snow don't line up very often, usually 1 or 2 times a winter. The first ingredient needs to be that cold air. That cold air has to blow down from the Arctic, of course, and impact the area. And how deep that cold air goes into the sky determines what kind of precipitation we're going to get. If it's not cold enough, we just get rain. If the surface area is chilled down below freezing, then that rain can fall and form that layer of ice on everything, which we call freezing rain. Now, if the layer of cold air is deeper into the atmosphere, remember, cold air sinks, so if it's deeper, then what happens? The snowflakes fall, melt on the way down, but hit that last layer of cold air and can freeze as sleet. That's why sometimes we get sleet, and enough of that can cause, of course, the prompting of closing of schools and traffic warnings. But now if it gets cold enough from the surface all the way up to the clouds, then those snowflakes can begin and survive all the way down, and that's exactly what kids of all ages are looking for. And I'm betting you'll be singing this song on those days.
Now, no matter what we see, sleet, snow, or ice, we definitely want to see your photos. There's several ways to send them to us. You can submit them on our website through ULocal or join our Facebook group, ULocal Carolinas. You never know, your photos might end up right here on air. Now, when we see snow, we often get school closings and delays. We talked with Greenville County Schools to figure out how they make that call.
Well, the first thing we do is we get together our ICE team, which is our Inclement Conditions Evaluation team. The decision makers and the folks who are the boots on the ground literally get in the car at 4 o'clock in the morning and rides the same roads that our school bus drivers would ride. And so they are looking in some of the steeper areas, less traveled secondary roads, as well as the major roads. We've got 26,000 kids on 400 different buses each day, and so making sure that not only transportation is safe for the bus drivers, but also for the families who might need to commute. Trying to find that balance between making sure that we are making the best decision for the safety of all students, but also being open whenever possible, because we understand that parents need us there, and that the kids' education is important, but also that the time of the parents is important when they need to go to work.
Wow, that's fascinating. Such an operation. Now, the decision to make that call is different for each county in our area. For more information on how some school districts make that call, head to WYFF4.com. There you can also find the section of frequently asked questions. If you are in charge of making that decision to close a school or a business, that gives you step-by-step instructions on how to get your snow closings into our system. Are you dreaming of a white Christmas? Next, we will take a look at that history of snow on the 25th. Plus, the magical I-85 corridor. Is it the reason we see more ice than snow? We'll take a look from the skies.
Well, winter is quickly approaching the area, and of course, if you have a vehicle, you probably wonder, man, do I have to get ready? Do I have to get up early to start the car? Well, guess what? We want to give you a couple of winter weather hacks, little home remedies for you to help you as we get throughout this winter. The first thing you may want to know, when you have to get up early in the morning, crank up the car, warm it up because you have that really thick layer of frost on the windshield. Well, one way to really help with that is to take a blanket or maybe a mat and put on your windshield. That will help prevent that frost from developing. But if you do forget to do that, don't worry, because we do have some dish detergent and some rubbing alcohol. If you have that in your bathroom and kitchen, you can put that in a little spray bottle, spray that on your windshield, and that will quickly make that frost go right away. Also, if you're wondering about that, if you put like a sock, if you have an old sock, you can put that on your windshield wipers, and that will help those from freezing and sticking to the windshield.
Check live Super Doppler 4 HD. Download the WYFF 4 app now.
Count on Cato.
We're here at ISO Main in downtown Greenville taking an informal poll on what the ideal winter forecast would be like. Let's start here with Irina and Marina from the Ukraine and for Russia. What do you guys hope? What would you hope for winter this year?
For winter, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
That'd be your ideal forecast. How about you?
I'm waiting for a snow, just a little bit, maybe for New Year.
It's been nearly 10 years since a true white Christmas has graced our area. Dale, you dove into the record books for a look at how often this actually happens.
You know, we all have this beautiful dream of, of a white Christmas, of the glistening snow, of the tree with the presents, the crackling fireplace, the whole works, right? But wait a minute, when was the last time that we actually had a white Christmas? Now, to qualify as a white Christmas, there needs to be 1 inch of snow at least on the ground on December 25th. So we went back into the record books and took a look. You know, it happened just a few years back in 2010, but it happened later in the afternoon into the evening. 1.6 inches of snow fell late afternoon on Christmas Day in 2010. So it qualified as a white Christmas. It just happened to come after Santa had already come and gone. In 1963, that's how far back we have to go for the next white Christmas. 1.4 inches fell on the 23rd of December and lingered through Christmas Day. And then before that, it was 1947 when 2 inches of snow and sleet fell a couple of days before Christmas and lingered all the way through Christmas Day. So while we keep dreaming of those white Christmases, just remember they don't happen that often. But you know what? Weather's always changing, so keep dreaming.
All right, Dale, thank you so much for that. Now, most winter storms in our area contain both snow and ice. You'll often hear us mention this during the wintertime, the Interstate I-85 boundary there.
Now, yeah, you may be wondering just what that means. Well, I went up in Sky 4 to explain it all from above. Well, we're flying high above in Sky 4. We wanted to talk about that magical term, I-85. But is it really magical? You may hear us use that term often during the winter months when we're talking about the potential of winter weather. Well, let me try to break down the difference and why you may hear that term quite a bit. Take a look off towards the north side of the I-85 corridor. Notice we have all the mountains and the higher elevations there. Well, let me explain why that is. Well, when you have cold air works from north to south across the area. So that freezing line, that line that transitions the rain over to snow, it reaches the higher elevations or areas north by 85 faster. That's why you see more in the way of snow, and you typically see more winter weather events. As we look off towards the south side of I-85, that's where more of our population lies, and that's where we have more of a flatter surface or more valleys. And typically, it takes long for that cold air to work its way all the way south into the valley, so that's why we typically end up with less in the way of snow or winter weather and more in the way of rain. Now, sometimes you can get that very shallow layer of cold air that's trapped at the very surface there, and it's hard to erode that, and so sometimes we end up with more ice across the upstate of North Georgia, and you get more snow to just rain across more of the higher elevations. Either way you slice it, that term I-85 isn't some magical line that determines who sees more snow and who sees more rain. Not really, but it is a divider line across our vast region, which typically divides up the higher elevations and the lower elevations. So that typically indicates why they tend to see on the north side of 85 more in the way of winter weather. Flying high above the area for WYFF News 4, I'm meteorologist Cedric Gaines.
Thank you, Cedric. Such a visual example there. Now, still to come, we're not the only ones preparing. We'll take a look at the many resources put into prepping for winter weather.
Moving water is dangerous.
Not just ice and snow to worry about, flooding a concern too. That's all when we come back.
As we get further into the winter season, it's important to have a few items in your car just in case for emergencies. You can see it doesn't take up a lot of room, and it only took a few minutes to kind of gather these items and get them together. But obviously you want an ice scraper in there, you want a flashlight, a first aid kit, and of course jumper cables. Some people want rock salt, other people choose kitty litter. I think traction mats are great as well, just in case you find yourself stuck. Warm, you want to stay warm. Have things in here to help kind of keep you stay dry. I've got rain gear just in case my battery dies and I maybe have to get out and walk around and find help. That's a good thing to have. Some people have actual blankets. I have thermal blankets, but again, think something to keep you warm. Also extra water. I've got snacks in here. I've got Fix-A-Flat. I also have extra socks, gloves, and an extra charger for my phone just in case. So the big thing is just be prepared in case. You may never need any of this. If you find yourself in an emergency this season, you'll be glad you took the time to do this.
WYFF News 4, live local breaking news.
I'm not a huge fan of snow, so I'm like, please don't snow, please don't snow.
Now, whether you like winter weather or not, it's a reality we have to deal with. And road crews across the upstate and the mountains have been prepping for months. In North Carolina, the Department of Transportation can store up to 170,000 tons of salt and 1.5 million gallons of brine to treat the roads. More than $4 million is budgeted to prepare for and recover from winter weather. In South Carolina, tens of thousands of pounds of salt and brine are prepared just in case snow is in the forecast. Now, one thing you can't stockpile salt and sand for is flooding. And we are heading into a wet weather pattern this winter, which makes that a serious threat. Now, while you may not think of that during the colder months, rescue crews sure do. Perella Lewis is here, and Perella, those crews are training year-round.
They really are, Chris. I mean, here's a look at some of the rescue our crews respond to each year. We met up with rescue teams while they trained just in case.
It's the second leading cause of weather-related deaths.
Intense flooding is impacting communities all across North Carolina.
Flooding kills more people annually than tornadoes or hurricanes. So the members of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office joined forces with 8 other agencies to practice saving lives.
Moving water is dangerous. You can be pinned against rocks. You can get pinned against logs, and those types of things can become what we call strainers. Could be on top of the water where you could see them, could be just below the surface where you might not see them.
With an average of 20 calls every year, this team has to stay ready.
We have a lot of water, not necessarily just here in Greenville County, but across the state. And water rescue is one of those areas that becomes manpower intensive very quickly, and you can burn through personnel very quickly.
Drills like this show the power of moving water and why things like throw bags and boats are also used in rescue.
The last thing we want to do is get in the water. If we can rescue you from the bank or from a boat, that's really going to be our preference.
The training that they're doing today is so vital because, as you can see, when water is moving this quickly, it only takes about 6 inches of rapidly moving water to sweep an adult off their feet. It only takes about 2 feet to sweep an entire vehicle away.
We have river rescues every year here in Greenville County, and then also we have to do a lot of rescues on streets and places like that as sewers become overwhelmed and start throwing manhole covers off, streets flood.
So the next time you see a flooded street, turn around and don't try to drive through it. The decision to drive away could save your life.
Generally, our water quality isn't great, so if you can stay out of the river, that's really your best bet.
Great advice, Perella. Thank you for that. Coming up, we'll map out your winter weather outlook.
I'm MeTV's Barry Williams, and you're watching WYFF 4.
It's time for our winter outlook. We've been working hard on this forecast and studying the weather models for months now. Now, one of the biggest factors in determining a winter forecast is the El Nino-La Nina factor, or in this year's case, the lack thereof. Let me explain. Now, El Nino years start way out in the Pacific with above average sea temperatures. Now, that usually causes an active southern jet stream and means a lot of moisture streams up into the United States. The entire southern part of the United States is very wet. Now, La Nina years are the opposite of the southern jet stream is suppressed to end up very dry. Now, this year, it's not an El Nino or La Nina. It's a neutral year, which means the southern jet is left alone. It's able to still send us lots of moisture. We just don't get as much warm air from it. Now, our cold air is driven in from the northern jet stream. It often dives down and gives us that cold air. Now, looking back at the records dating back to the 1800s, I crunched the numbers. I compared the El Nino winters to La Nina and neutral winters. And as you can see, a neutral winter gives us significantly more snow than the other two patterns. Oftentimes, El Nino is too warm to give us as much snow. La Nina is just too dry. Now, my forecast for this winter is for the southern jet stream to remain in place and send us a lot of wet weather. You're going to be sick of all the rain. We're going to have low pressure after low pressure. Now, I do expect cold air to move in at times, and if the two can sync up, primarily if the cold air is in place first, we'll get a lot of snow, and that is my forecast for the year here. On average, the upstate gets about 4.7 inches. We can expect that or more across areas like Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, all across northeast Georgia. Across western North Carolina, you've had a couple of run-ins with some wintry weather already. Your average is 9.9 inches per year. We're going to get that or more in areas like Asheville, Hendersonville, or Brevard. Now, we've gone over how you can prepare your home, your car for winter weather, but you need to know it's coming. We'll always keep you posted right here on air.
That's right, but you've got other options. If you're not near a TV, first you can download the WYFF News 4 app.
And then that will send you the weather alerts straight to your phone or your tablet. That way you're informed when potentially dangerous winter weather comes our way.
Now, we appreciate you for taking the time to join us for our winter weather forecast. You can always find us covering weather on air, online, and on social media. We hope you'll join us on Facebook to talk more about what this winter season will bring. From all of us here on the WYFF4 weather team, we want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and very happy holidays.
I'm a firefighter.